Many men wish death upon me. Blood in my eye, dog, and I can't see. I'm trying to be what I'm destined to be. And niggas trying to take my
at its proper time, and whenever that is, it will be amazing. In divine time, it will go down. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this time to welcome to the show none other than the legendary Big Chief Topcatz. Welcome back,
man. Oh man, good to be back.
Indeed.
In the Empire.
Yeah, you in the Empire now.
Yeah, this the home of the ancestors right here, you know.
Yes, yes.
Check the archives and see, but yeah.
Indeed.
So, yeah,
hey, Topcatz, I want to start out with Topcatz got a video that he sent me, and I want to start out, I want to get the energy rolling by playing this video. You know, this is a new paradigm, and with AI, we're making videos and the music and the imagery, the visuals. It's a beautiful time that we're living in, family. Shout out to on Instagram, the brother's name is Deep Conditioner. Shout out to Deep Conditioner for putting this AI video together. But we're gonna start out. Yeah, we're gonna start out with some vibrations for my brother Topcatz, produced by Deep Conditioner. Be right back in about 2 minutes, family. Tell your family and friends we are now live. Gonna have an awesome show on DNA, the cover up. Check this out.
I like that Honduran cigar, the spirits rise. Smoke curling like ancestors whispering in the skies. Dr. Sebi in my left ear saying heal from inside. This ain't no new land, we the ones they try to deny. Before Columbus ever dreamed of ship to steer, we was building mountains, doing rituals with no fear. From Yucatan to Galveston, New Orleans near. That's the triangle of soul, but the map been clear. Second lines ain't parades, that's ancestral rights. Tambourines and feathers under full moonlight. We ain't immigrants now, we the original might. Built pyramids and bone flutes before Rome took flight. Topcatz said it loud, stop begging for permission. Our culture ain't missing, it's just deep in tradition. We ain't African cause they told us we remember the mission. The land speaks Creole, so full of intuition. We been here through the blood and the drum, through the elders, the chants and the kiss of the sun. Smoke rise from the leaf, yeah, we talk to the sky. And the ancestors' rhythm, we never die. We been here, oh yeah, we been here. Way before they wrote their lives, we still live. It's our home, not a place we disappear. Jaheim singing true through the pain and the tears. Granny sat me down, roll something slow. Said when you puff, give thanks, let the cosmos know. I inhale the jungle, exhale the flow. Spitting stories that the textbook still scared to show. Cigar lit like a torch from ancient rites. Aromas like prayers to the Orishas at night. New Orleans ain't a tourist tale, it's black divine. Where the jazz horns spend time and the spirits align. Forget Columbus, we was dancing in stars. Trading turquoise, dripping culture in bars. Drums talking codes, spirits moving cars. Look close, the past ain't gone, it's just behind these stars. From Congo Square to Trammy porches, we built this land, no need for endorsements. The Mardi Gras beads ain't just for decor. That's soul armor, homie, we was gods before war. We been here through the blood and the drum, through the elders, the chants and the kiss of the sun. Smoke rise from the leaf, yeah, we talk to the sky. And the ancestors' rhythm, we never die. We been here, oh yeah, we been here. Way before they wrote their lives, we still live. This our home, not a place we disappear. Jaheim singing true through the pain and the tears. Through the blood and the drum, through the elders, the chants and the kiss of the sun. Smoke rise from the leaf, yeah, we talk to the sky. And the ancestors' rhythm, we never die. We been here, oh yeah, we been here. Way before they wrote their lives, we still live. It's our home, not a place we disappear. Jaheim singing true through the pain and the tears. We been here, oh yeah, singing truth through the pain and the tears.
Woo! Sheesh. Whoa. You know what that was? That was fire.
Okay.
That was fire. I gotta put
I ain't even got to
I can't even put the emoji. I'm not even gonna put the emoji. I'm just putting the torch lighter. That was fire. Jesus.
Yeah, man. Shout out to all the people out there, man. Shout out to America, man. You know, man. Yeah. In a real in-own way, man.
Man. There's some good times we live in.
Oh, yes, we are. You see, we've had the Stone Mountain in there. We had to have it in there, man. We've been here. You know?
we definitely been here. We're finally remembering who we are.
Wow.
It's beautiful times, family. I just want us to all stay focused and disciplined in these important times that we're living in. We've asked for these times. It just may not appear with all the distractions around you, but if you get rid of distractions, you can really tap into the frequencies that they're trying to hide. Man. Topcatz, man. Welcome back, my brother. Welcome back.
Good to be back, man. You know, good to be back.
What's up with the Godfather, the artwork behind you? What's that? Let me see that.
Oh man, okay.
Who did that?
Yeah. Shout out to my homie Southeastern Indian. And right here, man, the godfather of American Indian Studies.
Whoa.
What they did, man. Boy, what you gotta do to get a name like that, Rich? They say the godfather of American Indian Studies. And we got some more. Yeah, we get them from all over the world. Yeah, we got more stuff, man. Yeah, man. So shout out to the fam, man. They always looking out, They send them from all around the world, man.
Damn, okay. All right, we doing big things over there.
Yeah, doing something right, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, doing big things for everything we see. Well, we're gonna have a great conversation. I'll put the link to order cigars in the chat right now. For y'all access. But by the way, are they able, you know what? They want to know where they could buy the song. I will have to ask Mo. Mo, if you in the chat, I know Mo is.
They get it from me.
Okay, Top. How can they get it?
Shout out to Mo, man. Brooklyn Net, man.
Yeah.
But it's a song. Basically, what we was using as a promotion for our event Fade that's coming up on November the 22nd. So shout out to the pills, red pill, blue pill, mama pill. They said they'll come down. Looking forward to them on the 28th coming down in Houston, and we'll be with them. Our brother Pop Darby, for the Afro Tech. And 11/22, y'all come out. Houston, Texas, man, the largest indigenous gathering ever. And we're gonna have Zydeco Soul singing. We're gonna have panels, but we got workshops like genealogy, holistic healing, spirituality, different people, everybody coming from all around America. A lot of people buying tickets. We got a line dancing group that's coming. It's 40 ladies, 40 young ladies, and just one line dance group. So I'm saying, in the colleges, we're surrounded by colleges down here, HBCUs. And they coming out. All college students get in free, use their college student ID, and so we're right across the street from the college. So it's gonna be a lot of traffic in the building that day. Yeah.
Well, what day is this again?
November 22nd, 11/22. We portal hopping. Man, we got people like Taj Tariq Bay, man. We've been the legends coming out because we also doing we want to do a ceremony, to give our elders their feathers while they're here. You feel me? And we got something special too. I ain't gonna say nothing, but shout out to Uncle Pontiac, Chief Pontiac, did his thing last night. But we gonna, we also gonna celebrate him as well and others.
Indeed. I'm gonna send you
I
already told you I'm gonna send you, but I'm gonna send you so during the ceremony y'all can light them.
Okay, good.
You know what I'm saying? So y'all can light them out there and do your thing. This conversation tonight, Topcatz, a good one, a much needed one. So many people confused about certain results they're getting from these DNA test sites. You know, I remember like a year or two ago, one of them big sites, the people, I think the CEO stepped down or something like that.
Yeah, he stepped down and they ended up selling it.
It's selling it, yeah.
So he sold a lot of people information.
Yeah, so there's a lot of funny business going on with people's DNA. People are discovering so much about America that they didn't know before, whether it's the Grand Canyon, whether it's Memphis, whether it's Chicago, whether it's Atlanta. I mean, the shit is, things are just coming out. So Topcatz, man, I know you got a presentation. I'm gonna sit back and enjoy this presentation along with everybody else, and I'm gonna let you do my thing, your thing, my brother.
For sure.
Let's get this. Yeah, 23andMe. That's the name of it, y'all. Yeah, 23andMe. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, let me know when we up.
All right. We are on this. Yeah. We good to go now, my brother.
My bad. Make some.
Shout out to Hank in the building. Yeah, we got some all-stars in the building. I just seen Tassili. I see Hank in the building. Who else we got? Some of the speakers in the community. And who else we got? Hank just got his cigars. Ain't good money. I gotta hook Tassili up too. But yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. We lit in the chat. Topcatz got it lit. Did everybody waiting on this presentation?
All right, y'all ready? Okay, I'm ready too. I'm more ready than y'all. So let's ball.
All right, let's go.
Before we start out, you know, I gotta give praise, man. The Jaguar going, man. Big BC business. All right, so the white man who told you that you were African. Now, a lot of people might take offense to this, but see, I ain't gonna say something if I can't prove it. I sure ain't finna come up here and make a monkey out of myself, not on Empire 363. You feel me? So you know, it's great sitting in this chair. So yeah, if I said it, I gotta prove it. Let's walk. So we're gonna bounce off and we start off this whole situation of how did we become African? What was erased? Where did our stories go? Well, they were overtaken by science. And one of the greatest tools that was used to speak over all indigenous people, not just us. So see, this is really universal, but we're gonna specifically sit on what happened to us here. But it was universal. Science is gonna be used as a tool to be the authority over the indigenous people. And it's people from our community, supposedly from our community, supposedly with our best interests at heart, you know, and a lot of us hold near dear to our heart. But what we're going to find out tonight, they were accomplices. And we can't say that they didn't know what was going on. I respect Martin Luther King because he say, I walked my people into a burning building. He was man enough to come out and say what he did. And he took, you know, the responsibility that came from that. But let's walk. What are we talking about? Well, the evidence for the human migration out of Africa theory. Human evolution has puzzled scientists for centuries. Today, we are most familiar with what? The out of Africa theory. For modern humans and counterpart, multi-regional hypothesis, or less talked about, while out of Africa theory is the most accepted. Evidence is still arising that could eventually see a new theory of evolution take place. So for those people out there, and this is no disrespect to nobody, you know what I'm saying, where you are in your journey, but in the past, if you did a DNA test, if you look this year and as the years progress, your numbers can increase or decrease, your percentages. So again, it's because it's science. And like they say, eventually, this is what out of Africa was accepted today. Eventually, we can see a new theory take this evolution place. Now, out of Africa was only established in the 90s. And when I say the 90s, I'm not talking about 1590. I'm not talking about 16. I'm not talking about 17. I'm not talking about 18. I'm talking about 1990s. Y'all got kids older than that. During the debate as to the age of modern human, the development of genetic analysis tools in the 1980s helped scientists grow attached to the out of Africa hypothesis matches between DNA of living modern humans and fossil remains verified that Homo sapiens evolved several 100,000 years ago on Africa soil. The theory explains that while numerous human-like species walked the planet, only one arose in the modern man. New evidence continues to swing the pendulum of knowledge about human origins between these two theories. Now, let me tell you something, family, because a lot of the people that, you know, strongly in the Pan-African, their best tools are science or culture, which we're going to find out. And when we see them, their adversary are usually religion. It's a reason for that. But see, in the background, the ESO, you know, they got the ESO and the exoteric. The esoteric, and them in the background, they understand that religion and science go hand in hand. Okay, let's walk. It was a famous man once said, all religions, art, sciences are branches of the same tree. That great man was Albert Einstein. Now, science investigates the natural world while religion deals with the spiritual and supernatural. Hence, the two can be complementary. Many religious organizations have issued statements declaring that need not be any conflict between religious faith and the scientific perception or perspective on evolution. A lot of science they ain't worried about, but one they're going to agree on is evolution. Why? Because again, this is how they're going to be able to control not just universal, but mainly you're in a scope. They want you. The more commonly termed as mitochondrial DNA, thus the Eve gene, as it inherited gene paying reference to the story of creation in Genesis, the first chapter. The story describes Eve as the first woman on earth. Therefore, in essence, she would be the mother of us all. A monkey. Man, one of y'all will tap that boy at 2 o'clock after I wouldn't care. Listen, okay, so boom. For people that don't know, the oldest scientific, since we're speaking on science, oldest scientific status is the Royal Society. This was 1660. It was chartered by King Charles. A lot of them helped him after he was knocked off the throne, be reascended. That was 1660, 1664. You get the Dutch turning over to British, and then you get New York. So I go from New Netherlands, Amsterdam, into New York. Now, Robert Bowe is going to create this society. Now, they had some great minds there. Isaac Newton, a lot of great people, great mind thinkers at that time were there. Well, they were called the Invisible College. The Invisible College. The hand behind the hand. The nigga who pulling the string. Let's walk. So, anthropology. What is anthropology? It is the study of human anthropology, often termed as a term anthropology of the past, studies of human activity through investigation of physical evidence. It is considered a branch of anthropology in North America and Asia. Hold on, check this out though. While in Europe, archaeology is viewed as a discipline in its own right or group under other related disciplines, such as history. So why America don't base their anthropology off history? Their anthropology is going to come from this guy, the father of anthropology, Big B, Bernardo. Now, what did Bernardo do? Bernardo is the father or the founder of modern anthropology. So what is he going to do? He was amongst the first to develop methods and strategies for gathering and validating knowledge of indigenous new cultures. They talking about the Americas. Much later, scientific discipline of anthropology will formalize the methods of ethnography as a scientific research strategy for documenting the beliefs. Listen, for documenting the belief, strategy for behavior, social roles, relationships, worldviews of another culture, meaning that this is coming from somebody outside of the culture. And explaining these factors with reference to the logic of the culture, his research methods and strategies validated information provided for informing persecutors in the method of strategies of modern ethnography. Now, it's a person on the outside. So now anthropology comes in and they can grab a rock, and now they're the authority over the indigenous people on the land. How long y'all been here? 10,000 years? Well, this rock, through my science, is 30,000 years. So I'll write the story. Yeah, this is how this works. So let's walk. So we have Walter Neves. So I'm gonna start out with these skulls, you know, which is really science that was built. It was built off scientific racism. So the earliest studies of human skeletons in the New World shown that late prehistoric, recent Native Americans tend to exhibit cranial morphology similar to late Northern Asians. Now they go on to say the results obtained from multi-variate analysis confirmed that the morphology affinity between South American Paleo Indians and extinct Austro-Melanesians groups supporting this hypothesis. Now they're going to come up with this, Lucia. There's a problem here. When science, I'm going to tell you, science and religion is the same thing. Now this Lucia, a lot of people may use this as a, you know, solid source. But Lucia, the oldest fossil found in the Americas, items destroyed in the Brazil Museum fire. Now, this skull, Lucia, is named to be 3.2 million year old human ancestor found in Africa until, well, we can no longer say that the first colonizers of America came from the north of Asia, as previous models have proposed, said Dr. Walter Neves, an anthropologist at the University of San Pedro, who made initial discovery along with an Argentine colleague. The skeleton is nearly 2,000 years old. So they're saying the skeleton has Negroid features, and they can no longer say that the first people in America came from the north of Asia. So that'll take the Native Americans out. But what's interesting is she was found in a cave. She was found in a cave, a rock shelter, which is a shallow cave-like opening. All right. Now, one of the most famous Indians that we do get to hear about is Billy Paul. They know to the word he's known as Osceola. That's my ancestor. Now, why is he important? Because they're gonna say he was beheaded. He'd be sold to a museum in New York, but the museum burned down in 1866, they say. Right here's my genealogy to show Osceola. My ancestors meet at his grave site in South Carolina at the fort. Now, this skull Lucia, the oldest known fossil in America, was found by researchers. Okay, now the museum caught on fire, but it was discovered in 1975 Central Brazil state. But they say they had it on the shelf in the back. And then recently they came and said, hey man, look what we got. We got the oldest skull over here. But a fire happened. And they said it was a miracle because the book stand fell over and the Bible shielded the skull. As the place burned down, the only artifact come out of the fire was Lucia. Now, this is a popular tourist attraction. And they said the bookshelf fell over and the Bible was on the top of it and saved it. They was the only two items that didn't burn. Cold game. Who else found they work out the cave? Well, the Mormons. Joseph Smith created the Mormons. Well, in the 90s, you had Professor Abraham Jones from Brigham Young University, if you know, after Joseph Smith was unalived, coming out of Carthage, Illinois, they moved from they moved the site over to Utah, and you'll have a domestic slave trade there with the UT Indians. Anyway, anyhow, they come out and say that they dug into an entrance that was buried a dozen feet of rocks, right? The ceilings covered with ancient traces of soot, and they suggested that the cave had been visited many times in the past. On the top, they found a book made of metal plates. Now, these metal plates are these gold plates where Joseph Smith say he interpreted, and that's how he formed the Mormons. Shout out to my Islamic brothers out there. You feel me? No disrespect, but the angel Gabriel came to Muhammad. He lived in this cave where he received messages from God, and he refrained from leaving prolonged periods of time. So Muhammad also in 609, he received the revelations in a cave in Mount Hira. Well, shout out to the Hebrew Israelites, because the Dead Sea Scrolls discovered in 1947, right after the U.S. went over and rebuilt the infrastructure in Europe and took over the whole infrastructure and created the government system that they ran off of today following World War II. And we know what happened to Palestine, the division there. And now we get the Dead Sea Scrolls to verify, to stamp it and be the source of why these people are about to be misplaced out of their home. And the Bible is going to get them the rights. Not even the Bible, but the Dead Sea Scrolls that the Hebrews go off of. So if you agree with this, then you become, I ain't even gonna say. Let's walk. Religion and science, man. Religion and science. Now we go over to Carl Linnaeus, scientific. He came out with some taxonomy, classifications of humans. And what he said about the Americans, he said they was red, they was righteously black with straight thick hair, stubborn, zealous, freak, painting themselves with red lines. What he said about the Americans. And he's gonna create taxonomy in these racial these class groups, which should be classified as race. Craniometric, the measuring of skull, facial structures, also developed when in the 19th century. But then it became important in 1970 and 1980s. Same time Pan-Africans started popping, huh? Talk to me, let's work. I'm just saying though. It ain't me. There you go right there. I'm just saying though. Craniometric. First time we get craniometrics or people playing with cranes is from a guy named Samuel Morton. He wrote a book called Cranium America. Now, he didn't have many skulls to go by, but craniometric also played a foundational role in the United States and the ideologies or racism that would become ingrained in the American psyche. John Jeffrey and collusion of culture, the Anglo-Saxon homogenous president of America during the 18th and 19th century helped establish what the school of craniometry, which helped establish the American and Western concept of race. Yeah, Carl Linnaeus brought one, but you're gonna get a whole nother monster when you come to the 20th century, when they start playing with the science, and they're gonna use his work from craniometrics. Now, Morton went a step forward. The core idea behind it was intellectual abilities and more innate, that the brain was composed as many organs. So basically they're saying they use these skulls to prove that we were inferior. Our kind are inferior to the white race. In 1839, Samuel George Morton published his book, Cranium America. It's 78 illustrations of skulls. Very small database, but these are skulls from Indian wars that took place. Now, the work is considered the most distinguished and thorough book on scientific racism. It opens up with elaborate division of mankind in the 5 fundamental races before explaining how each race posed a particular character related to its skull shape. Mort wrote of American Indians that the structure of their mind appears to be different from that of the white man. Now let's walk. So Morton is going to send these books around the world. He's going to send these books out to England and to these other places because they didn't have that ideology. You know, this is going to be created here in the Americas, directed directly towards American Indians. This is from his book, Cranium America. And right here, he's going to even say the work has not been composed to philosophical retirement, which is so favorable in investigation and reflection. On the contrary, you can bear witness that I have pursued my course amidst to continue fatigue and anxiety of professional life, and this must be my apology. If the work now I submit to the public does not embrace all materials which are called for in such undertaking, I am, dear sir, your very obligated friend and servant, Samuel George Moore. Well, I'm here to tell you, George, that the work you should have had fatigue and all of that because the work was pseudo. But we're gonna work. I don't have to say it. Harvard Library said it. Scientific racism. Since enslaved people were brought to this country, promoters of anti-black racism and white supremacy have co-opted the authority of science. So science got co-opted, and people ain't know. They co-opt. They ain't just co-opt the government. They co-opt the science too. Let's talk about it. We need names. If anything happened in history, history is a recordation of humans. So we can't talk about history unless we talk about humans. Let's work. They're gonna tie this into the 1619 when the first enslaved people were brought over to what is called the United States. Now this is Harvard. They apologize for scientific and they're recognizing scientific racism on our people. And then they take us back to 1619. Well, we're familiar with the 1619 project. You even had the Obamas back this project. We seen NAACP. We seen her win the Pulitzer Award for this. But when in her book, it says that 20 odd Africans were dropped off in Virginia. But when we go to the Library of Congress, then we go to the records of the Virginia Company. This is the people who held the records. This is the people who are said to do such thing. When we go to their records, right here, MS 267 Records, Virginia Company, 1606 to 26, Volume 3, Miscellaneous Records, Virginia Company. On page 243, we find out that these people are actually coming from the West Indies. And determined to hold courtship and passage, he brought not only a thing, but 20 odd Negroes. The governor of Cape Merchant brought to the faculty whereof the great need. And we're gonna come down here. He had the Lord's Cable Confessor, and he said the executive range to take purchase in the West Indies. So the purchase was taken in the West Indies. These people came from the West Indies and was brought over to Virginia, and they were Negroes. And later, somebody changed that Negro to African. But let's work. So you also get paleontology. They also were racist. Scientific racism. But paleontology is the study of history of life Earth based off fossils. So fossils, you know, as we see the skulls and the cranes, things like this here, these are things that they're using. And a lot of it we see is popping up in the 1970s, 1980s, 1990s. Check. So let's work. Now, George Cuvier is regarded as the father of paleontology. Now, he promoted the theory of a catastrophic event that shook up the world and created new species. He ruled out evolution as mechanism for producing new species, believing they followed naturally after catastrophes. Now, as the term scientific racism denotes the contemporary historical theories employing anthropology, craniometric, and other disciplines in fabricating anthropology, supporting the classification of human population into physical, discrete human races that are claimed to be superior and inferior. Specifically, historical context. Scientific racism was thus most common during the new imperialism period, 1880 to 1914, in the second half of the 19th century, and used in justifying white European imperialism. The Negro race is marked by black complexion, crisp woolly hair, compressed cranium, a flat nose, projection of the lower parts of the face, thick lips. And so when we hear this, oh, you're African, boy, you got thick lips, you got this shit, we're not even understanding that some white racism people came up with these things, and people we trust to have our best interests are bringing it to us. And that is embedded into our minds. So when we hit, we're automatically, we're on autopilot, we auto-govern, we'll spit it out, we'll say it, not even understanding that it's scientific racism. So he argued based on craniometric and brain measures taken from Europeans and black people from different parts of the world, then coming European belief that Negroes have smaller brains and thus intellectually inferior is scientifically unfounded and based merely on prejudice and travelers and explorers. So what's going to take place out there? We got the AAPA having a statement on it as well. The Western concept of race must be understood in classification system that emerged in support of European colonialism, oppression, discrimination, and thus not have its roots in biological reality, but in policies and discrimination. Because of that, the last 5 centuries, race become a social reality and structure society, how we experience the world in regards. Race is real and race is racism, and both have real biological consequences. We suffer the consequences. Now, here's the Paleologist Society coming out. The United States was built on the foundation of what? White supremacy, systematic racism, oppression continued through ways of negatively impacting the lives of of people of color. Unpunished police brutality. Watch this here. Ensuing protests manifesting the white supremacist culture in the United States. And they also going to come back and say paleontology was a tool to erase. So you're looking for your story. Well, science erased it. It was used as an eraser. Now we talk about science and evolution. Charles Darwin going to come up. Charles Darwin, he became the foundation of modern evolutionary studies. Okay, and he even was buried in Westminster Abbey. I just left Westminster Abbey. Darwin had a thing, a missing link. A link between humans, Homo sapiens, and animals. So today it's recognized that the relationship of modern humans to the present anthropoid apes, chimpanzees, is through common ancestor rather than through direct descent. These ancestors have yet to be identified. But ape hominids, okay, may have occurred 6 to 10 million years ago. But they have right now, the ancestors have not yet been identified. We'll get back to you later on that. So what comes out of that, now you got people trying to find this missing link. I got the right answer. I got the right answer. Well, let's see who got the right answer. Let's see how science is so powerful. You have something called the pit down man. The pit down man, right? The pit down man, 1912, Freud. This skull is a replica of who? Dawson's so-called Dunn man, which was unearthed in a gravel pit. Now, the find consisted of modern human appearing cranium. They claim to be cranes, and this is giving them the authority to talk over your story. Now their voice is louder than yours, but now you're giving up your power to science. So this pit down man, by 1953, the discovery of more hominin fossils, the application of fluorine analysis, and the work of entomologists and archaeologists exposed pit down man as a hoax. But for 40 years, people believed it was true. So for however long people believe the out of Africa theory, however long people believe all life began in Africa, well, that was just a phase that they told you earlier. And science that soon can change as well, as we'll see here. So the pit down, 40 years, people believe this is true. This was the front line. Now we come here, Lucy. Lucy, the mother of us all. Lord have mercy. They didn't find her till November 24th, 1974. Okay? 1974. This is how recent. This is how they started playing. Like they said, science was hijacked. So University of Texas cracked the oldest case. The most famous human ancestor died. And they said she fell out of a tree. In Jesus' name I pray. You lying to me. These folks say they sold they science so proper, like they can go back 3.8 million years ago and tell you that she fell out of a tree, but they don't know who popped JoJo, the top man around the corner. Yeah, okay, all right, that worked. So boom, check this out. We finna start working. Just 1 century ago, the earliest man age was set at 100,000 years old. Just a century ago. Now, in 1923, man had been no older than 125 years old. At this time, Paleolithic was thought to have begun. Then you had 50,000 years. That was 1929. Then that was changed to 400,000 years. What's going on, family? Comparing the days, we soon find out that man's age has been increased in the past century by a factor of 20. Now, I know you can step on it and one with the two. I know everybody's seen American Gangster. Frank Lucas had to tell Bowen, hey, man, you stepping on the product. Well, he got the blue magic and he turned 1 into 2, but they turned 1 into 20. They turned 1 into 20. So they walk. So by the 1940s and 50s, Australopithecus, who was the earliest hominoid at that time, was dated no more than 500,000 years ago. Then you come to the 70s, they're going to date you at 1 million years. And then anthropologist F. Howard, here come Howard. His finds in Ethiopia. What did he do? He gonna double it to 2 million years. Then here comes LaGrosse Clark in 1955 with this South African theory that everybody steady punched it. Now, today, mitochondrial DNA said that the Maya type arose perhaps 130,000 years ago, originally dated less than 50 years, is now offered as possibly the oldest Homo sapiens anywhere between 130,000 years. But that figure ain't gonna stay the same too long. Watch it change. Now it's at 200,000. That's what a lot of us, they put it at 200,000. Why? To fit the African Eve theory. What is the oldest reliable date for the modern type? Back in 1955, LaGrosse dated at a modest 30,000 years. But since the 1990s, given the push for what? The out of African paradigm, date changes seem more what? Politics, more agenda than empirical sciences. Yeah, since the 90s, given the push of out of Africa paradigm, the date change. politics, agenda, and not empirical science, and not historical facts. Now, who is this ran by? This is Nature, volume 325 right here. Rebecca Can, okay, Mark Stokin, and Alan Charles Wilson, who would be the more, but he had so much controversy on his name, they put it on Rebecca Can. He too comes out of the Royal Society, the oldest scientific scientific joint today. But I wanted to say everything science comes out has to go through them first. Alan Wilson belongs to them. Okay, now let's walk. He even gonna participate in the percentages. Yeah. The DNA. So let's walk. But what's important though is in the mitochondrial DNA, because a lot of people might not know this, right? They only collected 147 individuals. Bro, they told us all life came out of Africa theory in 1987 of a study of 147 individuals from 5 different human geographical populations. And none of them was from North America. Can I say it again? None of them was from North America. Let's walk. So, the first colonization dates assumed by geneticists supporting the Eve model are mostly false. That's coming out of the book, The Human Condition by Robert G. Benorick. All right, The Human Condition. Now, the dates assumed by geneticists supporting the Eve model are mostly false. Rebecca Can, 1987. The researchers admitted from the beginning their involvement that their base pair substitution rates were based on almost certainly false assumptions of a single colonization event. It had long been known that there were probably multiple settlements events in most colonizations, which in the case of Australians, Dingo introduced, and then also when you come down the lineage early on, break, we're gonna come down. But the people who brought this mitochondrial gene, Eve gene, which is Eve of the Bible, 1987, themselves admitted in the beginning of their involvement that base pair substitution rates were based on the most that the rates were based on almost certainly false assumptions. Now in the population, rather than bring about population supremacy, the Eve progeny, another genetic model, they're gonna come out of Africa at about 1.7 million years ago. That there were 2 subsequent major expansions out of Africa. One occurred 840 to 420, 150 to 80. All right. In response to the Temple's comprehensive refutation of the Eve model, Rebecca Can made no attempt to do what? Argue against his proposal of long-term multi-regional evolution. So when they came out with this, you had other scholars, other people in their field, and they brought them their evidence. And you know what she said? I got my check. Fuck you talking about, nigga? The check cleared. I'm not even finna argue that. I told y'all in the beginning we was finna lie. Anyway, let's get into the multi-regional. Now, 2 decades ago, you had a debate that was going on. Fossils, early human ancestor remains, ape lineage, this type of talk. Today, paleontology community is again engaged in the debate. Ooh, let's get in their business. What they talking about? What they over there debating about? When and where did modern humans originate? That's what I thought we had the answer to that. In Jesus' name, I pray. Can somebody help me? Shit is just changing like the weather. It was cold this morning. Then I had changed clothes. I go take my coat off. Yeah. So today they debate. One side stand on some research, such as ourselves, who maintain there is no single home for modern humanity. Humans originated in Africa, then slowly developed into modern forms everywhere around the world. On the other side are workers who claim that Africa is an alternative theory. Now check this out. Where this theory came from? William Howes, Harvard University. What do you call it? The Noah's Ark model. So a lot of these people with this Afrocentric mindset not even understand. Fam, that's William Howes came with that. That's that Noah's Ark. He put that Noah's Ark on you. Now this said that modern people arose recently in a single place and then subsequently they spread out around the world, replacing other human groups. They're replacing Reese proponents of the theory believe must have been complete. All right. But then here come Adam Wilson, the same guy that was on the mitochondrial group. Yeah, okay, that was. Now, his colleagues at Berkeley, they concluded that the record of mitochondria could be traced back to a single female dubbed as Eve 200,000 years ago. Only mitochondrial DNA that can be traced to Eve. These theorists claim is found among living people. So what happens? Now, the debate continued to evolve through the centuries, incorporating ideas developed through the modern synthesis, but specific out of Africa theory did not come back into focus until recently. So they talking about all that missing links. They got us believing the pit down man, fake bones, fake hoaxes, science is steady changing, populations in the past is steady growing, human origin is still at, they still looking for Adam and Eve, whether the Garden of Eden and not, they ain't got it together until recently. Okay? And who that's gonna come from? William Howes. I ain't never heard nobody say that. But Will, the man behind the master plan. He said, okay, so out of Africa theory, just boom, popped back up recently. William Howes summarized it. Modern human origin theory 70 years after Herbal. The fundamental question remained that modern humans derived, in his words, from more archaic hominids already present in the same region or from a single origin. In 1976, his paper he presented human origin models supporting the evidence of the dichotomy between single point of origin and parallelism. Two models that ignore gene flow. He recognized the two hypotheses are although clearly favoring the recent origin model. Now, Howell concluded that the presented evidence does not disprove either. At the time, he felt that the place and origin could not be settled. So why are we here? Although a year earlier, check it out, a year earlier, you got to keep your receipts, and too late to reference Howes in his paper, Rainer Prosch published the first current out of Africa model, ironically, in a different issue on the same journal. But they can't figure it out. They're in the same room and can't figure it out. They get paid by the same people and can't figure it out. So what happened? Price said that developed that the model is fundamental out of African theories. If all humans uniquely descend from Africa, we can expect predictions to hold up. The earliest modern human. He basically saying we should all look alike. Price examined evidence from the first of these and argued that earliest modern humans were African. In his scheme, only an infant from South African site of Border Cave was directly dated to an age-old Neanderthal. That's how he gonna do this. Come on, man. So so now they got white folks on this in South Africa, Neanderthals. But this was enough because he regarded the Border Cave as representing more modern population. Prost concluded Africans evolved first in living races descended from them. So you get another guy jump in the mix, right? Beaumont, Peter Beaumont, one of the colleagues. he developed additional details from African origin theory, did he? And he also based them on this pseudo border cave. We finna walk, arguing that the spread of modern humans could be linked to the development of modern technology that accepted early date estimates. However, both prior subsequent analysis of the same post-Neanderthal European material, many other scholars failed to find convincing evidence to support such a proposition. Nigga put this shit on the glass. The Kimé Mutombo. Hold on, wait. Say, look at it. Say, hey, man, where you get that from? In fact, these Europeans and other moderns, such as Australians, Chinese, lack most of cranial and facial features used to characterize living or fossil Africans. Now, so boom, we're gonna bounce down. Now, in the last chapter, we think that they may just reasonably reflect the pattern culturally. Now, circle culturally, because this is where they having a problem with this cranes. They're having a problem with this missing link, evolution, multi-regional. They're having these problems, so they gotta play another game with you. All right, we're gonna do the culture game. What kind of clothes you got on? Yeah. What color shoes do you? Okay, yeah. So in their development, paleontologist side of the Eve theory, Chris Stinger, Peter Andrews took the strongest out of African position. Now, they address African archaeology records where the modern behaviors begin there, can be found in Africa. This is an important implication for the out of African theory, because one would expect highly successful group of Africans spreading around inhabiting the world and replacing successful indigenous people everywhere to leave a record of the elements in African culture, technology, organization, etc. that reflect the advantages that let them do so. So yeah, they want to know. So this out of African theory is true. These people that left out, and they didn't bump. They had a science that was far more prominent in the military to run over every indigenous population in the world. But there's no record. What they say, they left no records of the elements in African culture. We can't find African culture in everybody's culture around the world. They didn't leave no technology to be recognized. They ain't leave no organizations. They didn't set up any type of government that would represent or reflect those Africans. So archaeologists' data use support out of African theory have proved to be more inconclusive than not. Several archaeologists have provided worldwide summaries of archaeological changes that support the notion that important technology development happened first in Africa. You got J.D. Clark. He argued that the earliest modern human associated 200,000. Cool. So Clark admits that the fact that technology and behavior of the first modern humans in Africa do not appear to be all that different from other Neanderthals poses a major problem in his theorization. Major problem. Poke holes all in it. Where did this come from? 1973. Guess where we at? In the cave. Where else you gonna be at? Muhammad, the Dead Sea Scroll, everybody went and got it out the cave. The mom and everybody is out the cave. Where else you gonna find records of mankind? So they come out in 1970, man. Peter Beaumont, man. Snake oil salesman. Yeah, a snake oil salesman. And he said he went to this cave in 1970 and found the earliest known tally stick. Now, this tally stick is supposed to be an African tradition of counting. In Jesus' name, I pray. I should have put the picture up. So we find out, we just get right to it, right? So we find out, returning 1971, we just get to the good part. We find out this guy is Cap. He's Cap. So they catch him in his lie. Okay. So Daily Mail, he stated his conviction that Africa would eventually prove to be the source of modern man beginning. Finds which he made on the border cave and subject to radiocarbon dating by John Bogle would support his views. He thought that was gonna help him. He got the article, it appeared in African Studies, circle that, we'll get there, in Nature. Now, it'll be a whole story for me to tell you how Nature came in to be who they were back in the past. But they've been around, these people been around. Anyway, the article concludes radiocarbon dates available. The article includes a comprehensive and formal tabulation of radiocarbonation dates available at the time. Bowman and Vogue dates were corroborated by a team led by Polio Villa Francisco, and their findings were published 2012. And they're going to find them out to be Suto. So they called him. They also called old Price. Price was in the middle of that too. Fake out of Africa hoax. Price fraud, which ended his 30-year academic career, was announced after it was discovered that he had made up data and plagiarized the work of others. He misled and also included an attempt to destroy the University of Frankfurt archive to sell the institution chimpanzee skull collection. He finna get caught like OJ. We go to the Guardian. History of modern man unravels as German scholar is exposed as a fraud. While all these outer Africa theory pushers being deemed frauds, not just by us, but by their own people. This is at least what Professor Range Price, distinguished cigar smoker German anthropologist, told his scientific colleagues to global acclaim after being invited to date the extremely rare skull. Now, at the time, we're not even going to go through all of that, but he's going to get caught. The German police began investigating him for fraud. He tried to sell the university 278 chimpanzees for $70,000 to a U.S. dealer, and he was the feds. So they ended up playing with these fake skulls. If you find a skull that's more than 30,000 years old, it's sensation. If you find 3 of them, people notice you. If you good for your career, Professor Thunberg said, at the end of the day, it was about ambition. Other details of the professor's life appeared to crumble, and before he disappeared from the university campus, he told his students that he examined Hitler's and Eva Brunner's bones. He lied about that too. Yeah, good line there. Out of Africa theory, yeah, nigga. Any nigga that put out the out of Africa, good liar. Here go another one. Chris Stingler, who has received a CBE for his work on human evolution, tells his remarkable quest as a young researcher transform understanding of our species. So, boom, what did he say? He said that there were many reasons for this, including lack of informative fossils and lack of genetic information that could obtain them today, except the detailed DNA analysis. Reveals the key idea review of scientific impossibilities in the 1970s. So we can just throw all that away that they had in the 1970s. Throw it away because it's impossible. It was scientifically impossible. To make matters worse, the ages, many of the fossils and sites are far too young, especially for some crucial sites in Africa. Radiocarbon dating was still in its infancy and was prone to unrecognized contamination that can make age estimates more recent than actually were. That was the body. Hold on, man. I just had to, send him out to the afterlife in peace, man. Anyway, so boom, he bounce off, he come back. So he say a fossil is actually 3,000 years old and thus plausible ancestor from Homo sapiens. We're going to catch him in this lie too, okay? All of them lying. Now, new evidence coming out of science, new evidence for out of Africa origin. Rock chromosome markers are similar in Africans and Asians. What are they talking about? One of the biggest battles in human anthropology ranges over whether modern human descent from Africa or several populations. Cool. What's going to happen? The father of all men, 340 years old, which is going to outdate the 200,000-year-old out of Africa 1987 scam, fraud, hoax, whatever you want to call it. We'll get to that. Albert Perry. They find his genes and found out they called him Adam. Albert and Adam rewrite the story of human origins. They say Perry was African-American born into slavery in South Carolina. That's a lie. He wasn't even born in South Carolina. That's just what he passed. Okay, DNA of the descendants produced results came back quite surprised and have raised questions for genetics around the world because it pushed back that whack out of African theory. Now, Charles Darwin, finna speed it up. Charles Darwin wasn't the first to come out with evolution. We come over here to Scottish, right? Boston. Let's go to Boston. In Boston, Brother Darwin, which would be Darwin's grandfather, he was also into evolution. And he also was a powerful Mason, a brother of the craft. Now, the theory that called out of African model, okay, academically, recent single origin hypothesis, all right, humans originate in Africa. The single origin was published in Charles Darwin, Descent of Man, 1871. Now, this is a family affair. I always tell you, bloodline. Now, Major Leonard Darwin, the son of English Charles Darwin. Well, his son is going to be a soldier, politician, economist, a eugenicist, a mentor, a statistician, and evolution biologist. Now, he's going to also work under the Union of the African Association, which was in June the 9th, 1788, created, and it's called the Exploration of Africa, because until then, they had never been to the interior, only to the coastal parts. So they wanted to explore Africa. Okay, shout out to Joseph Banks. Shout out to W. Du Bois family, Bogart, through his mother's line. He passed looking for Timbuktu, looking for gold in Timbuktu. But you get the Royal Geographical Society. They're gonna team up in July 23rd, 1831. And so they're no longer gonna call it the African Association. Now, Leonard, the son of Charles Darwin, is also going to work for them. He also was the president of the Royal Geographical Society, and he was the chairman of the British Eugenics Society. Guess who he succeeded? His cousin, Francis Galton, who became honorary president, University of Cambridge. Okay, so this is bloodline. We just seen the granddaddy, the dog went to him. Now their cousin, Davenport, is going to be very, very instrumental. Now he's over eugenics. What is eugenics? Social and political philosophy based on loosely Charles Darwin evolution theory, Francis Galton, which is their cousin, research hereditary genes that seeks to eradicate genetic defects and improve genetic makeup populations. Okay, scientific racism. Now, these white boys got a lot of money. They're going to put their money where their mouth is. They're going to create a sister company. But they need somebody to push the line. So that African Association we talking about, June 1788, the discovery of the interior parts of Africa, founded in London. Everything with Africa on it, coming out of London. And they went to go explore West Africa, the beginning of the age of African exploration. Well, that's 1788. 1807 is the Trade Embargo Act. So they say that British ended slavery. So if y'all just start exploring Africa in 1788, how did y'all bring all of these slaves over here before you even explored the damn place you was in? Anyway, so here in September 24th, 1897, Henry Sylvester Williams been instrumental in founding what? The African Association. They brought it back. But I'm telling people it's bloodline. That's why W. Du Bois and others that was brought there. Now he's going to get his game from some news out of Canada. And we'll go to another part. But boom, let's get back to the topic. Franz Boas is the father of anthropology, okay, in North America. Boas was a specialist in what? North American Indian cultures, language, but he was in addition the organizer, professional, and the great teacher of a number of scientists who developed what? Anthropology. We finna work now. I'm coming out of my shirt now. I'm going for a stoppage. Yeah, I'm going for a stoppage. Oh, yeah, ref gonna have to stop it. So now we're in the United States. Guess who these students are? You got Al Krober, you got Ruth Benedict, you got Margaret Mead, you got Melville Herskovich, you got Edward Sapar, huh? So let's work. Now, who is Melville Herskovich? In 1963, the white Jewish father of African study dies. This is Pan-African's daddy. No disrespect, fam. On everything I love, I'm telling you what God knows. It wasn't a person that looked like us came and told us that Negroes in America had a culture and our culture was in Africa. It was him. And if you don't believe me, just watch. So the white Jewish anthropologist who was the father of African studies died at 67. Okay. The early anthropology foundation for much of the knowledge about Africa. Hold on. The foundation. Who built the foundation? About African and modern academic fields include African studies or the European exploration of Africa, the transatlantic slave trade. Put them all on there. The scramble of Africa by Europeans. Put them all on there. Guess who it was? None other than the big bad man himself, the father of African studies. Oh, yeah, the slave trade, the scramble for Africa, all that's him. And he worked clean. Let's watch him work. We're going to go to his works. The myth of the Negro past. The significance of Africanism. Watch what he say, though. Trip me out. I said, damn, nigga. I'm trying to see how you going to get it to sell if you going to say that. He say, through the historical relationship between the present-day Negroes of the United States and Africa, in midst of no debate, there is little scientific knowledge of what has happened to this African cultural heritage in the New World. He admitted ain't no debate that what happened to this. He admitted ain't there. God damn, with my wallet, I just had my motherfucking car. I just had my car key. If it ain't there, homie, so we need to put it there. He said, we need to put some paint where it ain't. See, okay, boom, bounce off. What he do with it? He says, there's little scientific knowledge what happened to this African culture heritage in the New World. Statement bearing the absence of retention of Africanism, even though there are drawn out things, different degrees of familiarity with the patterns of Negro life in the country, share one character in common. Watch what he say. He said African civilizations involved, but the majority of them are at all events utilized, but few, if any, of are cited in documentation or commonly the older sources, which today are of little scientific value. So we can't use it. So why is it on the table? Why is it in our mind? Because he is going to use somebody that's very near and dear to us to bring it to us, even though he told you it wasn't there. Let's work. We finna scratch. Melville Herkovitz, Racial Politics of Knowledge by Jerry Gresham, page 29. Let's walk. So in April 1923, what happened? While putting the finishing touches on the dissertation, Herkovitz submitted a fellowship application to the NRC. Who is the NRC? The NRC is a sister company to the eugenics. Now we just saying who run the eugenics. Okay. Garvey got a bag out of them niggas too. Okay, check. Garvey got a bag and a boat. Yeah, somebody said if you're gonna tell it out, fuck it. If you bring it up, Walter Plecker was in the eugenics society. They targeted Negroes and yeah, didn't want them classified as Indian. Garvey got a bag, like I said, Garvey got his bag from him too. And what Garvey said, we're gonna repatriate. Hey man, let's get about America. Let's go to Africa. I ain't going, but I'm saying you can go because Garvey never went. Anyway, we talking about this. So in 23, he go to the NRC and he applied for a grant. Now he left he was studying East African culture at the time, but he ain't never even took an anthropometric class. He ain't even certified in this. But he the nigga that got to certify everybody else, though. Let's walk. His decision was to pursue physical anthropology and study racial mixing was clearly influenced by who? Franz Boas. Who is that? The founder of anthropology in North America, who just specializes in North American Indians. Niggas. Who told you he classified people and created their names and languages based off the geographics. And he said himself in his works, he didn't go knock on nobody's door and ask who they were. He wrote down what he wanted to. That's how much power he had. Total control. Because he got their signs and he got a whole lot of money behind him. Let's walk and talk. Boas responded to the eugenics movement against the cultural anthropology by using the NRC program to butter his own position. He encouraged his students to participate in it. Okay. Now, you had Margaret Mead at the time, Odo Klinberg and Hershkovitz. They gained their funding. Boom, it's on now. They got the funding. NRC fellowship program in the biology science established it 1923. Mead study now on Mead, the lady, her study was on African American migrants tested intelligence, and Herkovitz was anthropometric studies of African and African Americans who helped undermine previously held assumptions about the race. Mead and Kleinberg demonstrated the absence of intelligence was strongly influenced by culture and not race. This is going to become a problem. Why you say that, Chief? Because he told us that the culture don't match. It's little of scientific. What did he say? He admits no debate. Ain't no culture, heritage in the new world. No debate. I ain't gonna lie. Ain't no culture heritage there. Now she want to do race. He want to do culture. There's a problem. So we're gonna solve this problem. So they will promote this immigration. You got Yerkes at Yale psychologist, all right? And you got Yerkes in the Galton Society. Listen to this. An exclusive white Protestant organization formed by eugenics, anthropologist Charles B. Davenport, the cousin of who? The Darwins. All right, because I told you I was circling that back then. All right, y'all walking with me. And the racist author, Madison Grant. The racist author, Madison Grant. Now, the CSPHM generally supported studies that investigated biology and not environmental influence, thereby succeeding postponing the extendance of the cultural school of anthropology. Uh-oh, we got a new game on the board. Cultural school. See, that went right there when I looked the last time. So in the 1920s, members of the Galton Society came together and they were determined who they were led by, Franz Boas, to dictate the direction of anthropological studies. Until the mid-1920s, the biological determinists exercised a major influence in anthropology. After that, cultural anthropology was ascended but faced significant resistance from eugenics and bioanthropologists who replied on simplistic Mendelism and biometrics. Check. Now, in order to acquire, they got a play going. Now, in order to run this play, they need necessary anthropology background for this study. So in 1924, the year after they received funding, Hercules applied for more funding from NRC. But guess what? Now, guess who else is going to jump in it? The Rockefeller, the International Education Board. The schools want in. Institutions. We got us something going. So here comes John D. Rockefeller Jr. For a 5-month research trip to Western Europe, Hercules proposed to visit major anthropology collections with significant African holdings and meet with prominent physical anthropologists and ethnologists specializing in what? In Africa. Discussing between IEB and the NRC that reveals that Hercules emphasized the biology aspect of his study to prove the decisive in his gaining foundational approval for this project. Now check it. The IEB and the NRC, they really wasn't rocking with Hercules' plan to keep it gangster. So they had a debate over it. You know, where they want to put the money over here, over there. This is some new shit, some shit this nigga got going on. You know, we've been on this. He said he owned to something. So the two organizations, they emphasize the connection between anthropology and the biological sciences to downplay the connection with the social sciences and history. The NRC did not want to affiliate psychology with anthropology and historical sociological sciences, fearing that such a move would inhibit the promising lines of development. So let's walk. So they need to get around that. They're not really feeling what he on. So guess what Hercules did? He prolonged the attack in his research on African Americans. He proposed a study on Harlem blacks. He went to New York City to Harlem. Now you need a black card to get in there. I know, I just left. So yeah, I needed a card. I needed a black card to get in that motherfucker. So white boy, Jewish white boy overseas, walking down Clayton Powell Avenue. What we doing, family? How did he? Who he with? Who he know? Because he had to check in. Now let's walk. He proposed a study of Harlem blacks. He later broadened his research to include blacks, West Virginia, Washington, D.C., to ascertain the degree to which African Americans were the product of a mixed racial heritage. He would obtain genealogies and physical measurements of African Americans to determine whether they were a race according to the traditional definition of race, that is, biology category of people, which there was little physical variation between the members of the group. Then Hercules will compare the results to his own measurements of Black Americans with those done by other white Americans, Black Americans, European, Native American, West African. Hercules expected to find significant variations behind, because he believed that Black Americans represented a mixture of Europeans and African heritage. He didn't even put the Indian in it. Second, he planned to use anthropometry as a tool of scientific racists, anthropologists, to test their beliefs that the race determined behavior. So Boaz, Hercules believed that the environment, not race, was key to the behavior. So check it. This is what he gonna do. Hercules was fortunate. So the NRC gonna come back May 24th. Harvard anthropologist Fred Tolliver, he criticized the council, writing the paper. What y'all got going on over there, bro? Y'all got this little white boy out there, that nigga out here saying all type of wild shit. Y'all with that? He say, yeah, he said you his people. So he criticized them in the paper. He was tied up, and he said he was tied up everything, and the research council received appropriation of $7,000 for the study of race mixture. So they mad that a lot of the funding, you know, we all got something going on. Why he getting the bigger piece of the pie now? Because there's an agenda going on now. So Boaz, first student, Hercules was founded for a total of 3 years. He recently steadily increased his pay, $175 a month, which was a lot of money back then. For the second year, $200. On his third year, he was at $500. Year increased by June 1925. All right. Now, to proceed his research, he needed to do what? Make contacts in the Black community. Whoa, this way it get tricky. Yeah, our master teachers, our ancestors, he needed plug in the Black community. Now, despite the emphasis of physical anthropology, he and for the funding was a sure thing. The ethnogenesis believed several members of NRC and antagonists towards Boaz and his students led to a heated debate of Hercules' proposal. The funding was arranged after Boaz, backed by allied NRC members, overcame the position of Clark Whistler. All right, so boom, they like, man, fuck with everybody else. Somebody, we finna push this line. This the way we going. Hercules had no navigate between two scholars of different perspectives. So who he started? So he's gonna go up. He needed help. So what did he do? He hired assistants to help with the measurements. Boaz introduced Hercules to several people. Who did he introduce to? Sadie Marie Peterson, who helped facilitate his research. Peterson was a library on 135th Street branch of New York Public Library. Sound like a sweet lady. Sound like she can cook. I want to play. Soon to become the proprietary for the School of the Sunbird. Now, Sunbird holding meetings at his house. Then they get the YMC program through who? Rosenwald, who sat on the board, who put Booker T. Washington in position. You dig? And they was going against the talent intent and also the Garvey fraction of what would become Pan-Africanism. Let's walk and talk. So Peterson introduced Hercules to members of the New York Black community, Abraham Harris, who became a close friend and research assistant. In 23-24, he made other contacts in the Black community, meeting up with the NAACP. They going. Joel Springer, my white boy, created them, so they going. You also met Walter White of the NAACP, Ezelanda Robeson. Hold on. Wife of Paul Robeson. Hercules attended meetings. He all at the church. The Crisis magazine, W. Du Bois was a good friend of his. So he widened his contacts, though, when he met Alan Locke. Alan Locke was over at Howard University, right? Professor who was in New York preparing, he had something going on. So a project on Negroes, new Negroes. So we're going to bring him over. So Hershkovitz, several talks in Harlem at the offices of NAACP, 123 35th Street and New York Library. Among titles, these were talks about what is race, is there racial psychology and civilizations of Africa. So let's let him push his line. We almost done. Both Boaz and Hercules promoted the training of Black anthropologists who could assist Hercules on studying while preparing for academic career. Okay, so he employed 4 Black assistants: Louis E. King, Alan Locke, Abraham Harris, and Zora Hurston, who's going to write the book about the Clotilda, which she plagiarized from a lady named Julia Peterkin. All right, yeah, boys. No, his Historical Sketches of the South is the name of the book. 90% of the book was plagiarized, and that's why it didn't come out until the Obamas brought it out. Now, Herkovich, and she's a sweet lady, beautiful, but Zora Neale Hurston brought him down there to Harlem. All right, she brought him down to Harlem, and they measured subjects' heads in West Virginia. Maxwell assisted Hercules Howard. Harris performed data. They were making these people bring in genealogy, family Bibles, things it is. Now, Zora Herskovich, with her relax, she got away with, she broadened the study for Herkovich, opening up doors because, she was moving around to a lot of places. Now they at the Black colleges. So in 25, the NRC committee Science Problems of Human Migrations approved this proposal to Herkovich for gaining financial support. So now they backing him. Now they got him in the Black colleges. All right. So now Hercules would now be able to do my long look forward to study of the concerning standing in psychology interest test with various anthropometric Negroid traits. This is the guy who's gonna tell you you're from Africa. Yeah, and you're not from Crenshaw Mafia, nigga. So with the NRC approval, Herkovich wrote President Stanley Dirk, the last white president of Howard University, asking for approval to do these measurements. They let him do it. Now, he's gonna come up with his numbers. Now, the main purpose of the research was to determine the degree of which African Americans were the product of African Europeans and American Indian ancestry. U.S. Census figures indicated that from 1870 to 1920, between 12 and 21% of the Negro population were mulattoes mixed with Indians, with the 1920 census putting the figure at 15.9 and finding that most African Americans were mixtures with challenges or notions of members unchanged in biological race. Now, Herskovich compared his results and supposed that what agreed African Americans with mixed African European American Indian descent with the genealogies reported by study subjects. Now, so he's gonna identify. So Herskovich used genealogies as checks against physical measurements. So he'll have them bring their genealogy in. He'll do a study and he'll see if his study match up with their genealogy say. And guess what, family? It didn't. Bars. Yeah, he was wrong on that. He was convinced that in order to ensure the scientific nature, he had to do more study. Now, he's even gonna, his boss, it actually gonna tell. He said, I do not believe you should expect these proposals to help scrap towards the solution of the so-called Negro hybrid. Despite Todd's scholarship, Herkovich rejected his friend's advice because they're telling him he going out here talking about thick lips, broad nose, or the creation of Negro blood and all of this. And that's why I hate when our people say that, because I'm like, bro, do y'all know there's these white boys out there playing with us? So unfortunately, several academic popular writers began to question these versions of Herskovich's findings to a wide audience. They wanted to strengthen the notion that American Negroes formed a distinct racial group. In 1931, Edwin Embry, president of the Rosenwald Foundation, published Brown America, based on a large result of Herkovich's study. Now, check this out. Embry announced the formation of new brown-skinned race represented. But watch what he say. What's in mind? Her approach supported the racist assumptions of traditional anthropologists. He was a fucking racist. But wait, it gets better. Cool, we already know that. But in 24, the instance, Herskovich read a paper in the annual meeting Woodson Association studied Negro life and history based on the measurements and sciences of public schools in 89 in Harlem. Herskovich concluded with great nose width, great thick lips, strongly colorated hand width, sitting with significant correlations that the various measures could be considered with race. Now, Herkovich's numbers, Woodson, although main results of his study weakened by the notion of race, okay, it weakened, fixed biology category, Herkovich used biometrics. He used biometrics. Okay. All right, here we go. So, yeah, it's weakening. He used biometric methodology. Carter Woodson briefly reviewed the American Negro demonstration. All right, let's bounce up. Now, who's going to help him? Similar to Du Bois showered the book. So when these black coons jumped out there, unlike traditionalists, forward-looking scholars wrote positive reviews. Who was it? Wingate, Todd, Du Bois. He showered the book and his author with praise. Du Bois pronounced Herkovich a real scientist and called the book epoch-making. Herkovich, he continued, proves that the American Negro is a new definitive group. That's what they're trying to call us today. You know, we hearing a lot of people in today saying that we are this amalgamation, new ethnographic group of people. Bullshit. That's where this is coming from. Now, let's walk. In the context of racism and the census data, mulattoes represented a declining proportion of African Americans to be used as evidence of racist positioning. Herkovich finding that most Black Americans had a mixed racial heritage constituted a stable physical type. Well, he's going to be put down by that. Now, in 27, he discovered that Black women at Tuskegee Institute in Alabama confirmed his results. Boaz advised Herkovich that more evidence, fam, you out here in New York, Virginia, or DC with all these niggas, you know, these your underlings, your students. If you gonna prove it, too many people coming to us, you gotta go to the South. So they're gonna get down to the South. Boaz told Herkovich, you gotta go to the South. This shit ain't gonna work. So he goes to the South. Herkovich accepted his mental advice. Meanwhile, he sought to address Herkovich formed the NRC to send Black students, Vivian Cameron, to Mississippi to do measurement and genealogy records. So Cameron came back with 171 families, including 639 males. Herkovich reported that it appears that the Black belt population is no more Negroid than measured by me in the North doing his earlier research. But he's going to be proven wrong because during the late 40s, August Meyer, a young historian at Tougaloo College, conducted the same study. And his results and put them on the side of Herskovich. Now, Tougaloo students indicated a lower percentage of those with unmixed African descent than Herskovich had earlier studied. The major difference that Tougaloo students indicated a much larger degree of what? American Indian heritage, 72% compared to 27% in Herkovich's study. The difference attributed to the different regions studied by Herkovich. So they saying in the South. So boom, we'll bounce off of this. So that's why when we come here, Zora Neale Herkovich, she's gonna aid him in, like we said, among Howard students, 1,500 individuals, 90 interviews, 97 identified as Negroes mixed with Indians. 106 identified Negroes mixed with white. So things like this here. But we find right here in the Journal of Negro History, volume 4, number 2, 1919, My own impression is that the amount of African tradition which the Negro brought to the United States was very small. In fact, there's every reason to believe, it seems to me, that the Negro, when he landed in the United States, left behind him almost everything but his dark complexion and his tropical temperament. It is very difficult to find in the South today anything that can be traced directly back to Africa. Check. So Herkovich received permission. Boom, we're gonna bounce off of that. Now, what pushed it forward? African Studies, the National Defense Act education. We finna land. We finna get out of here. Now, this is when the government got involved. So the government, they had an emergence of tropical Africa to the center stage of international affairs and raised African studies to the position of a grave concern. If the new African nation faced the problem of adjusting, so they needed people to come out. So 10 years ago, higher education could count only one formal program of African studies. Only one. And no more than a dozen senior scholars whose attention was focused on African. They ain't even have a dozen. 5 or 6, 7 niggas who was talking about African. And now finally, they did what? Got support from who? The federal government. Substantially in 1959. 7 universities offering graduate degrees in African studies. And interest kindled on other campuses, where African specialists, long unable to devote full time to their specialties, were asked to join. Check. From modest beginning anthropology history to some programs. So now, as African studies, we finna close out the founding of every study. Now, their association, 1957, and to acknowledge who played a key role in it, the Carnegie Corporation. All right, Alan Pfeiffer. He facilitated. And this constructed activities related to Africa dating back to 1926 for American scholars concerned with the continent and the concept of American African Studies Association. At first problematic, but in practice, it has created new fruitful opportunities. So now it's popping. That's why we seen everything with 1970s and all of this on it. Now, the average studies, they called a conference in a hotel, Roosevelt, New York, March 22nd, 57. Now, we get everybody who was there. We got the Rockefeller, the Ford Foundation paid for it all. Moving fast. Melville Herkovich, anthropologist on Africa. He said himself, Professor Herkovich, members of Western University, named Anthropologist of the Year in 62. What did he do? You had the student movements taking place back then. Scholars would seek unity on African kinship. Many Black scholars are attempting to organize a world union of people of African descent in the tradition of Marcus Garvey, founder of modern African nationalism, who was founded by 2 white boys himself. So Blacks interrupt parlay on Africa. So they're saying they want to be a part of it. Now, we should speak for Africa. Yeah, so they bounce in. So they had this is how they're gonna bring forth the resolution. On the African Studies Board, Melville Herkovich had underlinks. One of his underlinks was my favorite scholar ever, historian, John Henry Clark. As a result of racial and political dispute over exclusion for leadership positions of Black academic ASA leaders tied with U.S. intelligence and military government, ASA split when the Black Caucus, led by who? John Henry Clark, founded African Heritage Studies Association, which was just a sister company. Why you say that? He founded it with our dear brother, Leonard Jeffries. Now, right here on their website, tells you. So when they here, they're not together. But when they leave North America, they're together. So Dr. Clark came in New York Times, and he brought, and you know, he's at Hunter College. This was his mindset. He wanted to return to Africa in spirit. Most of us would probably not go back to Africa, he said, except in the mind, spirit, and interest. He said that the association is expected eventually to bring about a new perspective on African history, to rephrase it in such a way to make it relevant to current problems of Black people anywhere. They don't ask you where you from, if you African or not, when they pull you over, they just, come on, man, we out there. The feeling that there was lack of relevance in existence order of Black studies led to the formation and the organization 2 years ago. It was organized by members of the Black Caucus of a predominantly white group known as the African Studies Association, the father of African Studies, Melvin Ergovitz, who John Henry Clark is an underlink to. Les Walk, who worked on the same board as him. Now, the Royal Society, like I said, we're bounce off. And the DNA, you had the Human Genome Project, 1990, this came out. Well, we find in New York, there was a $275 million federal construction in 1991 to build a cemetery under it. Well, they're going to give this project to this new genetic that they just backed it. You had 1987 mitochondrial DNA. Then in 1990, they launched what's called the Human Genome Project, the quest to sequence the human genome. Okay, so they're going to mix these two together, and they're going to directly come and target us. So they the research created so right here in 1990 they launched a Human Genome Project, National Quest to Sequence Human Genome in its entirety. The buzz grew even more through the discovery of African burial ground a year later. It became clear that African burial ground will involve unlearning certain research methods and creating new ones. Can I get an amen? That you have to, in order to be a part of this, you have to unlearn what you've learned, and you're gonna have to get with this new research that we created a new way. So when the genetic result concluded that the sex remains came from Europe, so the bones that they found came from Europe, despite archaeological evidence of African ancestry. So why is it called the African ABG, African burial ground? When the results came back, here go the article right here, Washington Post. The results came back, so they sent the bones over to Howard, to the program, $24 million program. Now, it came back that these people were European. The archaeology evidence of they were European, despite archaeology evidence. So again, the bones come back. They're European remains, Black Europeans and Indians. Now the evidence, they're gonna overwrite this story with science and say archaeology evidence of African ancestry. What they say, they found Nigerian waist beads. I swear to God, I can't make this shit. They found waist beads on one of the bodies and say, I know Nigeria when I see it. And that casket's embossed in gunneal figures facing the east. And one of them, they're gonna say they found so this is when Howard University is gonna actually get that project. And so they use the Sankofa. Now, when we go to the Sankofa, it's on the burial ground right there in New York. We're closing out on this. So when the remains came back of the Africans were uncovered under the building in Manhattan, it stuck out a wooden coffin with 51 texts. They said it looked like a Sankofa, a symbol printed on funeral garments in West Africa, and captured the pattern was soon identified as the Sankofa. Now a peer-reviewed study published this month in leading history journal August that the heart-shaped symbol is not in fact Sankofa and probably does not have African origins at all. And neither did the bones, nothing but the waist beads. And indeed, it suggests that the Sankofa probably didn't yet exist as a symbol in Africa. So the National Park Service has managed the barrier and declared the monument no longer they can represent and say that it's a Sankofa. Bar. Now, let's walk. So I had a lot to go with that. Now, on this, we're just going to get to the good part. So when they sent the project to Howard, $24 million project, and the bones came back European, they used science, anthropology to say, well, they got on Nigerian waste beads, not come from the Niagara Company, and that was created in the 1900s. Cool. Now, one of the geneticists on that project was our dear brother, Rick Kittles, who created the Trace Your DNA. Now, 1995 to 1999, as a researcher with the New York African Burial Ground Project, federally funded, check, for African American DNA promise is particularly seductive. People remitted to the possibility that it can find a tribe that descend from, says Harvard University American Studies professor Henry Louis Gates Jr. But the middle passage has presented us from really finding out between the western shores of Africa and the eastern shores of America, names, identities, religions vanished. Here go that. They got it. Yeah, they got to take it away from you. But at home, everybody knows what's going on. We got land in the family 200-300 years old. We got graveyard out there. But they say all of it is vanished. Now, for the first time in 3 centuries, Gates says, we can begin to reverse the middle passage. And how are they going to do that? Well, the government, Michael Blakey, another guy that was on that project that came through, he did a piece with William and Mary out of Virginia College. And he brought out the fact that our dear brother Rick Kittles was actually funded. He was approached to be part of the project, and he was funded. And he became a face to come tell us to get in this database. And African ancestry, trace your roots, black owned. Michael Blakely said, no, it's not black owned. They approached him, and he became the face. Shout out to Michael Blakely. Now, even when you go to their site, autosomal DNA testing, comparing to, well, I don't know how to do that. We'll just bounce off that, and I'll do this here. Autosomal DNA testing can reveal African ancestry, but its accuracy diminishes with each generation. Typically provide reliable information from around 5 to 6 generations, or about 150 to 200 years back. If we do that, that's not that far back. 200 years is 2,000. That'll put us in the 1800s, fam. We can get to the 1800s. So that's far as you can go. The slave trade, 1808 Trade Embargo Act, is no more slave trade. The Civil War, 1863 Proclamation. So that's 200 years ago, almost. You feel me? That's that 150 mark at least. So yeah, you ought to be able to get to there because that's the furthest you can go. And that's not me, but that's their website. As we see the 1807 abolition of slave trade. So hold on. Let me stop this. And I'm gonna bounce over here real quick, Rich, and then we finna get out of here. 2 seconds.
Gotcha.
Hey, y'all get the lights up, get the flames. We gonna go out like this. We gonna go out with a bang bang. If you're interested in exploring a tiny bit of your DNA, your ancestry, guess what? We can do that. If you're interested in exploring a tiny bit of your DNA, family, we can do that. And he said, how is that tiny? How tiny? Less than 1%. Bars.
Yeah, you even you exposed the Al Sharptons of that day, man.
Hey man, it was a lot of them. They was working.
You exposed the Al
Yeah,
Sharptons.
they were paying good. They had to make decisions. Yeah, you see what happened to Carter G. Woodson. You know, he had that Negro money. He was taking that philanthropist money. Then he wanted to go do his own thing, so they took it from him. And then he had to act back right. Then Rockefeller and them gave him back the check. You gonna act right this time? You go, okay then. Cut that shit out you was on, nigga. Write it how what I told Tina, sing it like I wrote it.
See, man, this is a reminder, y'all, you know, why we can't get funded by these other groups.
Shit.
When you get funded by these other groups, you're not really
representing the people anymore.
Representing the people. We have to be funded by each other. And not only that, just a small example, y'all. A lot of people have told me throughout the years, yo, Rich, your platform is big. You need to get them white folks. You need to get this, you need to get that. You know, family, a big issue in the spiritual community is, this is just a small example of how this shit go down. And I don't have nothing against the white people who support me. I appreciate them because they know I come with a certain energy, and they you know, they're willing to, you know, they accept that. Yeah. So no problem with them. But what happens, the issue is, a lot of people, once they get white patronage, white people who support them, they have to act different to cater to that audience. Yeah. So there's a lot of people in the spiritual community that won't even mention the word melanin because they know it would offend the people watching their channel. Yeah. The people watching their channel would get triggered. So when you purposely try to get a white audience, like, I'm just being me, and whoever comes to me, comes to me. But when you purposely go to an audience, you can't even be authentic no more, because any little thing will trigger that audience, and they want you to behave a certain way. So we got to do this shit on our own. We got to fund this on our own, and we got to support each other. But that was a magnificent.
Let me veg you back out there right quick.
Indeed.
Listen, family, bro, Rich been doing this for a long time. You know, a lot of people come, they trying to find other ways. They asking for things though. But and we saying the power is in the people. The people are here. And the more people we have, the less the people have to do. Shout out to Pop Darby out of Houston. Like he said, he had a plan. If everybody dropped $20, you got 50,000 people, 10,000 people dropping $20 a month will increase the value to $100,000 a month. Mm-hmm. So that $100,000 a month, we spend it this month because another 20 is coming next. We're gonna have another 100,000 next month to play with. We have to get off this money because it's gonna keep coming in, and it's not hurting anyone because it's $20 a month from every family or every viewer. If you put in $20 into the empire a month at the end of the year, I mean, all of us, because see, a lot of people is comfortable with let the man next to them or the woman next to them hold their weight. No, you got to hold your own weight. And see, with it all being us, you can't be the weakest link on the chain. If we gonna have something, if you want it uncompromised, or if you want it how Brother Rich has been giving it to us, you have to support this brother. Like, it's thing, man. It's a lot of things. Like, we throwing something, bro. We got big overhead budgets, and we trying to get the best out of it. And then you got these other people saying, "Hey, man, we'll take care of that. We got the money," and then we can't do certain things or perform certain things. And so this is what Rich saying. If you have a community and you're not into building your community, then you're not really even into building yourself, because this is not going to help Rich. It's going to help you. So that trickles back throughout the community. If Brother Rich got a $200,000 spending budget a month, that we give it 2-3 years, 5 years, you niggas will be millionaires. Everybody that pitched in, and you ain't dropping $25. You ain't dropping $25. And that investment at the end of the year, every 90 days, boom, you get a check. So your $25 after them 90 days, you probably get $10,000 back, $15,000 back. But I'm just, shout out to Pop Dog out of Houston, man.
Right.
The more people we have, the less they have to do. The only thing is everybody got to play a part. Play your part, homie. Don't let nobody, the next man, put food on your table. Don't let nobody have to hold your weight. If you're going to be here, be productive. And don't ask what this country can do for you. Don't ask what empire can do for you. Ask what you can do for the empire. If you want an empire. Bars.
Indeed. No, facts. With that being said, let's take some questions from the family. We definitely going to figure this thing out, family. It's in the Destiny cards. So we already got it figured out. We just gonna it's gonna happen in divine time and family. Give me some questions. You had the chat rocking the whole time.
Oh, I ain't looking at it so good.
Trolls coming up in there.
Oh, trolls,
man, you had them arguing and debating. You had them debating in the chat. So I just, if any of y'all got questions, if
what's up? What we doing? Y'all know how I get down. The Godfather. What we doing? Any
questions? I want we're gonna take about 4 questions. Then we're gonna get out of here. Somebody asked, where can you get them shades? Yeah, he sell. Those are shades you sell.
Oh man, these some new ones, man. They ain't even came out yet. I ain't even show nobody these yet. I gotta send you some. Just let me know what color you want.
Yeah, those 5.
The blue one's 5. What's your favorite color?
Usually go like a brownish tint, like the ones you got.
Okay, bet. I got. Yeah, you send these to you.
You get those same joints. Yeah, somebody said we need a town hall meeting. Yeah, we sure do, huh?
For real, bro.
We sure do.
Shout out to Red Pill. Red Pill stay active. He's super energized. He'd be great. Rich laid back. You know what I'm saying? But Red Pill super active. But it's a lot of us that can come sit down, man, and put our brains together, bro. It ain't gotta be a lot of people in the room. You know what I'm saying? But that representation got to be proper, homie, and the communication got to be strong. And bro, we don't need nothing from nobody else.
Right?
Ain't nobody coming to help us, but we got each other. As long as we got each other, bro. If you got $25 in your pocket, homie, get that to the empire. And all of y'all in the chat, if y'all did that, bro, we'll be able to start building. You know what I'm saying? The whole world, whatever you can imagine.
Indeed, I've been able, I had that conversation with you and a couple of months ago, and I've been able to go back as far as the 1800s on my mother's side. So I got to my great grandmother.
Ooh, you working. Okay.
I'm gonna tell you, in Branchville, South Carolina.
Yeah, South Carolina.
It was Rose Grimes. I got Rose Grimes back, my 4th great grandmother in Branchville. So I'm trying to figure out.
The Grimes came and created Grimes County and things like that. Those are named after the Grimes family. Yeah, that's a world line. That family got a lot of history. Yeah, not just in South Carolina. Yeah.
They had a picture of hold on. I'm not sure. I'm gonna get to this. Let me get to this one question from South Carolina. From King Simon, and King Simon said, "Then who are the Gullah Geechee people?" He must have missed that presentation you did on my channel.
Right, check out that what was it, Seminoles? What we named it? I forgot. Probably Seminoles. Yeah, go back and check that Seminole one out. Gullah Geechee people are people who lived out the Ogeechee River. That's where they derive the word Geechee from. And the Gullah, you have the Gullah people down there, Gaule. You can look them up. They've been over 10,000 years. That's the population down in the southeastern parts, coming out of Georgia area. That Georgia, Savannah, going up into the South Carolina area. Yeah, but later the Gullah Geechee be coined. So we can't go back in history, see them in the 1800s. 1600, 1700 to be honest. And 1983, matter of fact, Melville Hershkowitz had a student, Lorenzo Dow Turner. He's known as the father of the Gullah Geechee. He's a linguistic. So he heard a workshop song while he was in Africa, he say, and it reminded him of people in South Carolina and Seattle. So he didn't finish the connection. He passed. But in 1983, a white man named Joseph Apollo, who's known as the father of Gullah Geechee connection. He's gonna come back and say he found the connection that Lorenzo Dow Turner couldn't find. And he in 2012 he got citizenship to Sierra Leone. He got citizenship over in Sierra Leone. Mm-hmm. Joseph Fowler, a white boy. Yeah. Wow. Now the first person to speak of it, Gullah people, is Bennett. Also in the Civil War. So they sent a survey down there, they do studies on the language. Well, it was called, the first mention of it by the guy Bennett. Bennett came back and said that it was broken English. Well, and he based it off of records found in the Civil War, where you'll find in that area what they call the Port Royal experiment. So, yeah, the Port Royal experiment, 1865. Now, during the Civil War, they said they wrote it down as broken English. Now, when it became African, that came from a lady named Julia Peterkin from a fictional book that she wrote about a fictional Blue Ridge plantation. So, yeah, look into that. Where the slave, you know, but it was a fictional book where she wrote it about. Yeah.
All right. Let's get to this next question. Somebody wants to know, can you speak about the history of the United States flag and how we owned the Confederate flag at one point?
Well, certain people owned the United States flag. The United States flag was created by Betsy Ross. Come from that's a raw bloodline here, the Ross family from Virginia to Philadelphia. You know, Delaware and the New England states. But yeah, that was a representation for those people coming out of there, because they are the ones that allied together to create what would be known as, you know, the U.S. The U.S. would start off as 13 colonies. Now, the Confederate states in the South, it was different because you already had a government body down in the South. So that's why the U.S. came, and it didn't come together until after the Civil War. And so the North, they ensued U.S. expansion from 1791 George Washington Civilization Plan all the way to 1812, 1815 when they started getting down there. As we see statehood flip, like Alabama, 1817, things of this nature, as they come to the Union. And out west, Texas later, California, that's why they're coming in later, because at that time, the U.S. wasn't 50 states. You know, they had to move slow. They had to move through Indian territory, a.k.a. the Civil War. Yeah. In 1870, they came back and got them people from the South Indian territory, and they became, they're known us as the Buffalo Soldiers. And they left there and took over, put Native Americans on reservations, cleared out the Southwest, built the bridges, built the houses, built the roads and the infrastructure there. And they also went over to Cuba, the Philippines, the Spanish-American War. They went to World War I, World War II. They got Tuskegee Airmen. They end up in Korea, you know, and the fighting force. And for that, they honored them with a 12-foot statue, bronze statue, for teaching white cadets how to train on horsemen, to be horsemen, and also how to be sharpshooters. Bars.
Yo, this is a picture, Topcatz, of my great. So this is my great grandmother.
Okay.
This is Della. So this is Della Grimes.
Okay, Mama Della.
Yeah, this is Della Grimes. Shout out to, you know, my ancestry.
Indian hair going down the back.
Yeah, she became Della Myers. She was Grimes. She became Della Myers. But what's ill is that this is my great grandmother, and she looked like this. That's a young picture. Yeah. This is a young picture of my mom's. So my mom's look just like her. That's
almost a split image.
Yeah, that. But this, so hold up. So that's my. Let me tell you what's ill. I'm gonna tell you something. What's real ill. Let me So that was my great grandmother. Hold up, y'all. Give me 1 second.
Rich come from them good genes. Rich guy, he come from a family of good genes. I told you them Grimes is a royal bloodline.
I'm gonna tell you. So that's the. So I show you my great grandmother, and then my mother ended up looking like her, and then let me show you. Look, my daughter. So that's
what
my.
I was gonna say. Really, y'all got them strong genes over there. You gonna hit up one of them baby girls gonna come out looking like them.
Hold on. So that's my mom's, right? So then check my daughter. Now my daughter looks just like my mom's, who looks like my great grand.
I had a cowboy hat on when we started.
Just keep like the image just keep going down.
Man.
It is Topcatz. My lady's dark skin. And my daughter came out the complexion as my mom with green eyes.
And I said it before it happened. I said, damn, y'all got some strong genes going on over there. Now, you know, in our culture, they have a saying that baby been here before.
Right.
Yeah, down here in the country, folks, they say, oh, that baby been here before. That's granddad, that's such and such and such. You know, they already be feeling like, you know, the baby came back and just too mature for their age, and you know, and it's an old saying, you know, that baby been here before. So yeah, that may be her right there who we looking at. Yeah, that's how you found her. Yeah, she's been waiting on you to find her too. Yeah.
This DNA in these genes, man.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, somebody said how you found your family tree. You know, the Myers, my Myers family, they do family reunions and they serious about their lineage. And when I was young, I never ever went to a reunion. And my sister finally reached out to them and got some information from them.
That's how I go.
Because it went from Myers to Brown to Merritt to where I'm at. I'm at the Merritt right now, but yeah, shout out to the Myers. They be having a big reunion. I'm gonna try to go next.
Get out there.
Be in the Carolinas. I'm gonna reach out and let them know they got a conscious brother. And
bro, they gonna be so happy you go out there. You're gonna be like Frank Lucas when he was going down to Carolina from New York. Yeah, you know, Sinetta, he was telling me, he said, man, we got a family reunion coming up in South Carolina. That's where his family from. Yeah. So his sister, I'm like, man, you gotta go. You don't know how long, you know, people gonna be alive, man. You know, it might be the last time you see him. So he say, you know what, I'm gonna think about it. And I stayed on it, man, and go. So boom, his sister show up to pick him up so they can go. And she grew up in South Carolina with their grandparents. So he like, hey, my sister here, I'm gonna go. So I asked her, I say, did Granny tell y'all had Indian ancestors? Like, yeah, we Cherokee from South Carolina.
I didn't
even know it.
Yeah, ain't that something?
Yeah.
I seen a video Sonetta posted with somebody in his family telling him.
Yeah, that was his. Yeah, now he found his other side. Sonetta all Indian. Sonetta about his top of the head. I never told nobody that story because it happened, and you know, on my channel, and we just kept it there. I ain't want nobody to try to use it as a weapon against him or nothing. You feel me? Because so I just kept it back.
What was it? Sai calling y'all the pretendians? Was that Sai?
Yeah, that was Sai. Now
he's pretending.
Come on.
Man, Sai, say it ain't so, Sai. I talked to him on the phone.
About 3 tribes that he can verify, and then on his daddy's side, he already know they indigenous. So Sai just arrogant, man. Embrace his side. I mean,
yeah. Now this is very, very interesting. And you know, I thought you was frozen. The brother from New York, I forgot his name, but he told me about, you know, us studying history and not studying our direct bloodline. And it's a feeling you get. You get a feeling when you study history, but it's a deeper feeling when you just find out. I never even knew that would happen. I was so much into just ancient history, but it was an incredible feeling just finding out who my great grandmother is. Like, wow. So yeah, I'm glad that we live in this time period and that we're interested in things like this. And like I said, we're gonna figure this thing out.
And you know, that's why I say, you know, no disrespect, but it's the end of master teachers. It's not saying that they didn't serve a purpose, but at this point, where we are today, it will serve us best if we become historians, because the more and more elders pass, the more and more the information gets harder to find. Yeah. So as we missed through those years, and I got a chance to ask Dr. Phil Valentine, hey man, in the 70s, when y'all were pushing the Pan-Africanism, do you think it was a mistake if we could have focused more on American, on our genealogy, us in America? Right. Will we be in this position today? And he agreed that yes, if we would have put the focus on America, we would be in a better place.
Wow. Yeah. Let's get to a couple of more questions. Well, I mean, what a show, man. What a show. Very inspiring, y'all. This is why we need this brother in our community. And this is why we got to support this brother and what he do, because the information that he's bringing out is information that we definitely have not been taught, even in the underground. So, yeah, this is very important. Let's get to the next question. Are the Black American indigenous the same people as those who are the Mexican Native American lineage?
Well, the Mexican identity didn't come from the Mexica, but you get the Mexican identity at the Mexican Revolution. And we go to the front lines of who fought the American Revolution is people that look like us, all the way up into the 20th century. A lot of people not familiar that it was a big war going on in Mexico, where they had brought a Confederacy allegiance. 3 states came together in the Yucatan, and in 1848, the Castle War started, which American and British provided firearms and military assistance to take them down. But it was 3 wars that took place all the way up to 1920. And then you got the Japanese and different Asians that they brought over. Now, Mexican would be a person that looked like me, you know, or you. So Hispanic, what they would be called. Who is the Hispanic? Well, when the Spaniards, the conquistadors came over, the first would be Guerrero. Guerrero were said to breed in with a Mayan chief daughter, and their kids would become the first Hispanics, not Mexicans. The Hispanics. We the Mexicans. I'm from Texas. Yeah, I'm a Mexican. But they're Hispanic. Now, the Native American is a political term that was put on a group of people that in the late 60s going into the 70s, same time as the civil rights movement. When we got black, 1967, we got black. Well, 1969, John Henry Clark and them come. Well, you got the AIM, American Indian Movement, with them going to Alcatraz saying, we want to tell our own story. And yeah, and then we find out the people that was behind that were white people. Lil Feather, her family, no Indian ancestry. Russell Means, no Indian ancestry. He's Irish and French. Yeah, we find these white boys cosplaying Indians. Yeah, like it's Hollywood TV.
Yo, Mo wants to know what's your Cash App. Topcatz. I know King Simon is sharing it in the chat, but what's your cash? You got a Cash App?
Yeah. I don't know how I do it. I can't join it. If I say you can press it in.
Yeah, King Simon. If you can't post that,
I don't think he got it on no one.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Cause I had to change it. So
is it Nazi?
Yeah, there you go. He got it.
Yeah.
If King Simon got that, come on now, King Simon. You got that. You're a computer, man. He got it. Oh, got it. He got it up there. Oh,
shout out to.
Oh man, I gotta put my phone down.
Shout out to our Jamaican brother.
I would never doubt, man. Listen, man. Goddamn, I'm like, nah. He probably King Simon on me. Shout out to King Simon, man. Simon, man, waiting on that interview.
You ever did any research on the Jamaicas on Jamaica?
No, I actually just left though. I was there this year. When I go back, I'm gonna build them a soccer field. And you know, they told me, man, it was only $2,500 US. So I said, all right, bet. When I come back, I got you. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna build a soccer field because they had to play football in the street. I'm like, what a goal at? He said, you see that white line right there? He said, it's the goal. So yeah, I'm down there, I'm in the hood. We going through there, we on the plantation, sugar canes. But yeah, I got a lot of history on Jamaica too. Yeah, but when I get back down there, we're gonna build a soccer field for them. A real stadium with bleachers and everything.
Yo, King, when was the last time you been to Jamaica, King Simon? I went about just before you. I went about shit. Let me see. About 14 years ago. I was out there, King Simon. Let me know, when was the last time you was out there, King?
Yeah, I just love. I'm fresh back, and it's different when you leave. You know what I'm saying? Off them resorts. I ain't go to the beach or nothing, you know.
Yeah.
I'm out there with the people. I walked up, you know, the stores, everybody standing outside. So I just gave them 200 cash, like, hey, you know, take care of everybody. So they love me. They pulling up in 745, stopping. Everybody like, who is this? I'm in the street. Everybody pulling up. Oh, look, who is that? Who is that? You know, and man, no problem. They gave me 2 bodyguards and everything, you know. Yeah, so it was good, you know. Shout out to Jamaica, man, The Rock.
Okay, King Simon said he ain't been there for about 15, 20 years. I'm surprised, King. I'm surprised you don't go more often. I'm surprised you don't go more often, King.
Down there with me, man, when we build that soccer field, man, that stadium down there. You know.
What part of Jamaica you gonna build that in?
We're going to the bottom pen. So it'll be around the area, St. James. You're leaving out of that area,
right?
You know, yeah.
Okay.
But the neighborhood is called Bottom Pen. Yeah, we call it the Bottoms. Right, Garvey Square around the corner. But you know what's crazy, interesting? They don't fuck with Garvey like that. So when we went to Garvey Center, they like, bro, this government. He's like, there's government, man. Christopher Columbus, they tell us Christopher Columbus came here. Garvey went for us. I got it all on tape. We in Garvey Square. I got it on tape.
You know, I that's why Garvey came. He fucked with the niggas in America.
That's why he came to New York. Okay.
He came to America.
Yeah.
You gotta fuck with the Black Americans. You gotta fuck.
You never go to Africa.
No, you gotta come over here. Dr. Sabi, he gotta fuck with you. Gotta fuck with us, and we going, you know, embrace.
Right. Yeah.
we gonna get you right. I don't know, like, damn, man, that's sad, yo. They don't fuck with it. They rather fuck with Christopher Columbus. You said?
Nah, he said they don't. He said Christopher Columbus discovered us, and it was people already here. I'm like, damn, y'all, we on in America. So yeah, we got a good conversation about that. Yeah, but
Garvey was an agent until he woke up. He was an agent.
Yeah, Garvey worked on a plantation in Costa Rica. They was big in the banana. Today, that company is still around today. But yeah, he was a timekeeper on a plantation in Jamaica. In Costa Rica. When he came here, he worked on the Thompson and Ernest Seville Cox, who worked for the upper echelon of the KKK. That's who signed his check. That's who got him his boat. All of that. Yeah, all of that is. That's why Garvey said he regarded the KKK as more of a friend to the Negro race than any other people. He did. Garvey was a big factor in the Hebrew Israelite movement too. You know, Josiah Ford come out of that. So he came here with the Ethiopian movement. So he got the term Africa from Booth, a white boy he met in Europe, who was a missionary, a white Christian missionary that said Africa for the African. So that's what Garvey get that from. And he brought that here with him. But you had different forms of Pan-Africanism. You got the talent intent, and then you got Booker, who backed by George Springer. and that's W. Du Bois. And then you have Booker T, and he's back behind Rosenwald. That's how he did Tuskegee experiment on us, and he sat on the board of Tuskegee. And then you have Garvey's friend Bruce Grit. The boys coming out of Sunbird. Mm-hmm. He wrote, and he was cool with Barclay. He was the president in Liberia at the time. That's why Garvey didn't get in, because those Pan-African fractions were beefing with each other. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to tell us that Joel Springham paid for the 1919 Congress, and Joel Springham is a white boy. He said Garvey should be called a spy for the white man. Watch him. Mm. Yeah, Bruce said that after Schomburg. Facts. Yeah. Damn. And I got the receipts. Damn. They said, watch him. He bad people. Watch him.
Wow.
That was the people in New York said about him.
Yeah, wow. There's so much history. Man, that's why we gotta talk to Topcatz, man. You gotta, Yeah, somebody. I heard that Garvey. I did hear that. He was an agent working for Walter Plecker.
Yeah, eugenics. That's why I brought up earlier. Yeah, he was with the eugenic boys. Yep.
Yeah, I'm real careful about when you study history, family, and Topcatz, that we don't analyze it from a 2025 perspective. Because the context is so different back then. Right. You got to put yourself in that mind frame. Like I see brothers who's studying now, and they may hear Elijah Muhammad was a Mason, and they think he's a
and they just cut off everything.
Yeah, but they don't understand that before the internet, before all this shit, you had to be part of certain societies just to have access to certain information. So you got to sort of like try to put yourself in the mind frame of living in whatever time period that is. And that's an extremely hard thing to do. So we always, a lot of times, miss the context behind what these individuals were doing and why they were doing it, because we're thinking from a 2025, oh, you a Freemason, or oh, this, or oh, that. Man, you have a whole lot of brothers was Freemasons because they felt as though that's what they had to do to get access. But
watch this here though. Yeah. So we created Freemasonry. Like, it wasn't a bad thing. You had to be a prominent. You had to be Hamilton to be a Freemason. Yeah, a lot of you niggas wouldn't have made it. So yeah, you can say that, but you had to be one of them ones back then to be. It's watered down now. Right. But you had to be one of them ones, and now they got double brother because they end up teaming up with the fraternities in the colleges. Right. And now that's a double brother. You a Freemason and you fraternity. But back then, yeah, you were elite. If you a very special individual, very reputable individual, if you was a Mason. Yes.
Man, listen, I love the next time I get Topcatz on here, I want to have a panel. And we was going to do something like that tonight. It didn't happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen, man. Yeah.
It's going to happen. Like I said, it's going to happen in divine time. But we need a panel. We need to have a panel discussion about this topic of the Americas and really, really going. And like I said, just me researching. I'm proud to say I know who my great grandmother is.
Yeah, because I got a jacket. I have a picture. Tell this story, quick story. Mm-hmm. I'm finna go to London. I'm leaving New York. I'm late. Mm-hmm. And New York traffic. I wake up, I'm late. So I get there, and so I go under the ropes. But as I go under there, my backpack knocked the ropes down. It's a domino effect. So everybody looking at me, TSA looking at me. There's no way I'm finna make this flight. My jacket said, "What's your great-great-grandma name?" That's from my genealogy side. What's your great-great-grandma name? So this melanated lady called me over. Come here. All them dudes looking at me. They finna get me. The cops, they looking at me. Everybody just skipped the shit out about 40 people walking them long ass. I went under. So she said, "Come here." So I walked up to her. She said, "I don't know. I'm stuck." I'm like, "Damn, I'm in trouble." She's like, "I don't know." I'm like, oh, you don't know what? She's like, I don't know my great-great-grandma name. So she tell me where to go. I'm like, am I gonna make my flight? She's like, yeah, just go through. Come this way. So she boom, get me through, check me in. And she stopped me. She said, hey, I'm gonna figure it out. And just off my jacket, it fucked her head up. What's your great-great-grandma name? And it saved me. That's my New York story. And it saved me. And I caught my plane, man. And I walked, as soon as I walked up, boarding group 1, I walked right on the plane, fell asleep, woke up, I was in London, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, man, that was a guardian angel or something. Just off of that jacket. What's your great-great-grandma name? Well, Rich can answer that question now. Hard.
Indeed. And yeah.
What I was great Morris American brother say, it have to be if we're gonna do something, then it has to be result based.
Mm-hmm.
It gotta be result based. Yeah. So yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
Shout to the family. He said gotta be result based.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Family. We're gonna get out of here. I appreciate everybody for watching. Topcatz, give them all your information. Tell them about your event next month one more time. Let them know how they can reach out to you, my brother.
All right, check it out. Too loose, stay confused, man. Got some news you can use. 1122, Houston, Texas. It's going up, all the way up. It's a lot of big names. I don't want to put that out there because I want that to be the reason you come. Now, 1122 FADE, which stands for Foundation Indigenous Americans Day. Well, we're going to bring in all the Indigenous American coaches. If you stand in America, if you found your family here, your roots here, or anything you love about America, being here, come on out, come party with us and join us. We're going to have the coach out there, Southern Soul, line dance, and Zydeco. They're going to mix it up probably, but we're going to have performers. We're going to have an art show going on. We're going to have panel discussions. We got workshops such as Genealogy 101, financial literacy, community building, tech, things of this nature, holistic healing, spirituality, things of this nature. So yeah, y'all come on out, man. We got the good food. This is Houston. We got the most beautiful women in the world in the United States. Every athlete will tell you. Don't sleep. Houston do not sleep. New York is 24 hours, but you ain't making it in the house till 6:30 a.m. and you're going to take a nap, and you're going to be back up for Sunday fun day because Houston brunch got the best brunch in the country. But y'all come out, Fade Houston. You can get your tickets on BigChiefUniversity.com, BigChiefUniversity.com. Also, where you can find my books, or the 6 books. Y'all can go over there and tap into that. We also have merch, from glasses to shirts to hoodies to varsity jackets to slides to socks. To whatever you need, man, we got it. You feel me? We want to build everything for us, by us. You dig? And that's why we need that, that push from the community, so we can keep these type of things going. Instead of us investing and trying to, create something for us, and the people not into it. You know what I mean? Our people not, doing their part. You know what I'm saying? So let's meet each other halfway as we create these kingdoms, and from these kingdoms we create an empire. Like 363. Hey, you want to run that that we've been here back on the way?
I was about to say we're gonna close out with that. We're gonna close out just with this, family. Once again, the show doesn't end when we get off the air. Take this energy to the dream realm. Let your subconscious work on your reality for tomorrow, family. We are powerful beings, powerful people, powerful gods and goddesses. On that note, we signing out. Enjoy this video. This is powerful right here. Shout out to the brother Mo in the chat. Shout out to Topcatz. We doing this is our time. This is our era. We doing the damn thing. Peace, family.
I like that Honduran cigar, the spirits rise. Smoke curling like ancestors whispering in the skies. Dr. Sebi in my left ear saying heal from inside. This ain't no new land, we the ones they try to deny. Before Columbus ever dreamed of ships We was building mounds, doing rituals with no fear. From Yucatan to Galveston, New Orleans near. That's a triangle of soul, but the map been clear. Second lines ain't parades, that's ancestral rights. Tambourines and feathers under full moonlight. We ain't immigrants now, we the original mind. Built pyramids and bone flutes before Rome took flight. Topcatz said it loud, stop begging for permission. Our culture ain't missing, it's just deep in tradition.